Hi, crypto fans. Today I'm going to talk about Pegaxy, this massive update, right? So this massive update is that Pegaxy has reduced the VIS ending for the Pegasus, right? So this is something we have seen before. We have seen it in Axie Infinity, right? So in order to curb the limitless supply of SLP, and the SLP price was dropping like crazy for a period of time. So the developers decided that the solution is to limit the minting of new SLP, and the the most obvious way to limit the minting of SLP is to reduce the supply, and you give out less rewards for the game, right? So that was a very simple idea. So Pegaxy has adopt the same idea and the same strategy, right? And this is viewed as this a lot of people don't really like it, right? Because they have Pega and they calculated their ROI based on the previous reward mechanism. So basically, now rewards have gone down, right? So they think that the ROI have dropped, and so a lot of people don't like this policy. A lot of people are cursing the project right now, right? Yeah, but I totally view it from a different approach, right? I think that this is a good thing for Pegaxy. This is something that is very bullish, very bullish. In fact, Pegaxy should have done it a long time ago, right? Because think of it, when you have a two token economy, right, like Axie Infinity and the Pegaxy, you cannot survive based on a foundation that is the reward token is minted out in a way that is basically limitless, right? So that will not survive. That will destroy the whole game in the long run. So the sustainable development, in order to have a more sustainable development, you have to make the reward token more scarce, more valuable, right? More scarce and more valuable. That's just like Bitcoin, right? So the idea to have the idea is that you need to have value for the reward token, and the value comes from scarcity, right? There's no other better way in the crypto world to have value other than scarcity, right? In fact, when you have scarcity, you do not really need any real world utility, right? Because look at Bitcoin, right? People talk about Bitcoin. Why do Bitcoin have value? I always ask people this question: why do Bitcoin have value? Bitcoin have value because there are only 20 million of them, right? And not a single one more. And the Bitcoin don't really have any real utility other than being early and being a very scarce asset. So the idea for XRP and VIS is that for them to have any long-term value, they need to be scarce, right? They can't be printed out like crazy, like freely and unlimited forever. So this is actually the right move, because when you think about the foundation of the game, right? So we have like a VIS. We have VIS, which is actually a inflationary inflation token, right? So that's the main problem. So when the VIS is highly inflationary, the value of the VIS is not sustainable. When the value of VIS is not sustainable, so the Pega value will be not sustainable. Pega value is actually a function of the value of VIS, right? So because Pega is like a fixed income asset, it's like a bond, right? You buy a Pega, it can get you some kind of a VIS reward consistently over a long period of time. Like it's like a bond that pay interest on it. So VIS is inflationary, and the value cannot be sustained. So Pega value cannot be sustained as well. Who wants to hold a Venezuelan bond, right? So that's crazy. Even if it give you an ROI of on paper like 70% or 100%, it doesn't really matter because the underlying currency is worthless. So actually the VIS value is the key in sustain the whole economy. And then you have this non-inflationary asset, which is the governance token, which is PGX, right? PGX is actually a limited asset. So this actually PGX, this limited asset depend on the player base, right? Player base. So when the whole game becomes successful, there are more players actually playing this game. So PGX value will be sustainable. And so the player base is actually dependent on whether people are willing to invest in Pega, right? So this is a very straightforward relationship, right? So VIS form the entire foundation of the game. So VIS value is sustainable, Pega value will be sustainable. Pega value will be sustainable. People are willing to invest in the economy. And PGX, which is like the governance token, which is like the stock, right? You can think of it in terms of stock market, like ownership in the stock of the economy, right? So when people actually are willing to actually invest in the Pega, so PGX will have value. So basically, PGX is a function of the entire gaming economy of the game, right? Because eventually people are going to pay tax in the form of PGX, which I believe they will roll out in the future, right? All the transaction tax will be in PGX solely. But right now, you can actually pay transaction tax not in PGX but in USDC. But eventually, PGX will accrue value in such a way that it's going to be highly correlated to the amount of gaming activity inside the space. So it's important for VIS value to sustain, right? So even though on paper we see that, okay, Pega definitely will earn less VIS right now, right? But think of it the other way, right? If VIS value become more valuable in the future, it's actually better for your Pega in the long term, right? Because what's the point of earning a lot of worthless VIS, right? The entire game will just collapse anyway. If you keep it in the old way. So in fact, it will be better for you to own actually to earn less VIS, but in return, each of the VIS themselves is actually more valuable. Yeah, so I think this is actually the beginning of the right direction. In fact, so actually limiting the VIS supply is actually key to sustainability in the long run, right? In fact, I think they should be even harsher on the VIS supply, right? They should actually cut the supply even more to make a VIS like I would suggest something like maybe you can only have a 20% increase or 30% increase in the total supply of VIS per year, right? So it's like put a hard cap, right? Think of it like a Dogecoin. Dogecoin you can only have like maybe something like 4 or 5% growth in the supply per year, right? So it's inflationary in theory, but it's actually there is a hard cap, right? So I think in the long run, you need a hard cap on VIS. I think it's the correct answer, right? So don't worry about the rest, right? Because once VIS become valuable, you solve the entire tokenomic problem. But if VIS is trash, right, the whole thing doesn't work anyway. So I think the developers are taking the right direction, right? Because in the past they are trying to solve the VIS problem by having stadium providing utility. That doesn't work, right? Because it has not been proven in the crypto world itself that you can inject utility into you can inject utility or you can inject value through providing other form of utility. That has never worked out in crypto world, right? So people don't buy Bitcoin, buy Ethereum, buy or Dogecoin for some kind of for some kind of gaming utility or the real world utility. People buy the asset fundamentally. They are scarce asset, right? Okay, with the exception of like Ethereum, like it has some form of utility in paying gas fee, right? Yeah, except for those let's say infrastructure token like Polygon or Binance token, you can use to pay gas fee for the network. This is the exception rather than the norm, right? Most of the time, value come from scarcity itself. So either scarcity or gas fee, right? So if you come make it a real world utility in gas fee, then make it have value through scarcity is the right approach, right? So this is a good direction. So I think we are going to see a VIS value going higher. So when VIS value going higher, Pega value will be higher, Pega value will be higher. So we are going to see more inflow of capital into the game. This is how I see the micro factors are playing out in the future. Okay, that's all for today. If you like my channel, please subscribe my channel and like my videos. Thank you.